Hi, everybody. So, this is really exciting. We are here to talk about the latest episode of Doctor Who. This is season 10, episode 4, Knock Knock. And it was a really, really good episode. And I'm joined here by my friend Jonathan. And you want to say hi?
Hello.
So we've enjoyed this season so far. This is my first season watching Doctor Who, and Jonathan's watched it for many seasons. And so we have kind of both perspectives. And how did you feel about this episode as a whole?
I really loved it. It may be my favorite of the season so far. Mm-hmm. It was really good. It felt, to me, I know you won't have this perspective, but it felt like maybe one of the first 3 or 4 seasons episodes. It just, I don't know, it felt fresh and exciting, and I don't know, it had a feeling like I got when I watched the first few seasons, like I was watching something really exciting and really special.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know about that part of it, but I agree that it was really, really a fun episode. It's a good example of how you don't have to reinvent the wheel to make something that's super entertaining, because it is a kind of a classic story of a classic haunted house horror movie kind of story, but it's executed really well, and so it worked. It was super entertaining, I thought.
Yeah, I was gonna say too, like I've said with the last few episodes, it felt like something they'd done before, because it had shades of a couple different episodes that we've done in the past, but of all the ones they've done with the haunting or haunted house type feel to it, this one was the best. They've done it before, but this time they really nailed it.
Because one article I read compared this episode to one called Hide.
If it's the one I'm thinking of, that one was another one that was a haunted house. There was paranormal investigators investigating a ghost, and it kind of turned into, I don't know, a weird alien romance story, except you never saw the aliens that were in love except from a distance. I don't know. It was really strange, and it was okay, but this one did the haunted house thing a lot.
Interesting. Okay, cool. Yeah, I thought it executed that, classic haunted house horror, a lot of different horror, like things that could be cliches or tropes, I guess you could say, but they're entertaining. That's the thing, is I think the idea of sort of archetypes or tropes have been they have this idea that it's like a bad thing, that it's, and it certainly can be, but when they're used effectively and used well, they can be, they're commonly used things for a reason, because they work. And so it just depends on how you use them, and I think they used them really well. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. So in the beginning of the episode, we see Bill with these roommates that she's going to have, these different roommates. And one article that I read said that it's kind of unique how Bill is shown to have this whole life outside of the Doctor. Would you agree with that the companions are usually not shown to have like jobs and a life kind of outside of the Doctor?
In some ways, yes. In other ways, no, because they, at least in the new series, they mostly always have had a life outside the Doctor, but they don't generally have a job or something that they keep going back to. Normally, they'll get on the TARDIS with the Doctor, go off, have adventures, and go back for visits, or they'll call home. There's not usually been a time when they're staying in one place and then they'll go off and have the occasional adventure.
Yeah. And that's kind of what it feels like with Bill.
Mm-hmm. It is different in that way, because they're staying in this city and then leaving once in a while to go to a different planet or something.
Yeah. Interesting. So, what did you think of this whole setup of them renting the house? Did you like these roommates? Did you think they were fun?
Yeah, I liked them. They were all interesting. I kind of hope we see them again because I don't know. They seemed like we didn't get to spend enough time with them before they were eaten by the house, even though they all survived.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping they'll be back.
Some of them I liked more than others. I liked the Indian looking girl. I thought she was good.
I
Uh,
remember her name only because it was Shireen,
oh,
and
that's right.
in the first season, the companion Rose kept talking about her mate Shireen, and we never saw who Shireen was. And for a minute, I was like, "Oh, is this the Shireen that Rose was always talking about being friends with?" But that was 10 years ago, so Shireen is probably like in her 30s or 40s by now.
Probably.
I don't know. I don't know if that was on purpose or not, but that's why I remember Shireen's name.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, they were fine. This whole, I certainly related to this whole idea of like looking for a house, and I never lived in a house I was always in apartments in college, but my sister lived in a couple different houses, and so she did that whole kind of find a house and divide it up, like a bunch of friends thing. That for me it was always apartments.
It would be a fun thing if you had a lot of people that you knew and you were friends with. I don't know that I would like the idea of going and doing it with a whole bunch of people you didn't know. I know that's really common for college students. I didn't ever have to do that.
Oh yeah.
I think it would be fun if you were doing it with friends. I would actually like to live in an old house that people thought was haunted. I'm not
Yeah,
one who believes in houses being haunted, but I still think it would be kind of cool to
an old
stay
house.
in one.
Yeah, I can see that. I'm a little, I wouldn't say I'm super superstitious, but I'm enough that it would probably weird me out a little. I certainly believe in the idea of like evil spirits and
I mean,
things like that. So,
I suppose I could get weirded out if a lot of weird stuff started happening, but I don't know. I've never
yeah,
had supernatural experiences to make me want to believe, so I don't believe.
yeah, understandable. Yeah, the closest I ever got to this kind of experience was my what was it, my junior year of college. Me, my really good friend, my sister, and my cousin all got an apartment together, and so that was really really awesome, really memorable. And I certainly had lots of other roommates and other things like that. But anyway, so it's an interesting experience trying to find housing when you're in college.
Hmm.
Um, okay, so I thought some of them I was like, oh, I hope we don't get too much of them. They're little they could be annoying, but they I thought they used them enough, so they were fine. And so let's see. The next question. So, did you like the idea of the creaking floorboards? Was like, did that help sort of draw you in?
Yeah,
Creak.
I heard online that if you could get a version that was like in surround sound, if you were wearing headphones, I think they called it like binaural audio.
Interesting.
So I put in headphones while I was watching it. I watched it on my computer instead of on the TV, and it really made you feel like you were there because the creaking and all the sound effects were like all around you. It was a different experience. I really enjoyed that.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. I can imagine because they did a really good job of just adding atmosphere to
Hmm.
the whole experience, I think.
Yeah, their sound design was really good on this episode.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. So, did you like the TARDIS being used as a removal service?
Yes, that was hilarious. I mean, I knew that the TARDIS could do that kind of thing because he's picked up people and one time accidentally a Dalek before. I've never seen him do it on purpose to help somebody move. That was so funny.
That was really funny. Yeah, I liked that too. Well, it's just very British, the removal service.
Yes.
I love that. So we do get a little interesting thing, at least to me, it was interesting. He says, the doctor says, we only need to sleep if we are regenerated. And I was wondering if you feel like, is that a hint at all to...
Probably.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to... I kind of hope he tells her about regeneration, because if she has to watch him regenerate, she's not going to have any idea, because there have been companions in the past who were not prepared for that, and then they're totally freaked out. Like Rose was freaked out for an entire episode.
Because we know a new doctor's coming.
Yes.
Next season. And so,
I don't know does he know he's regenerating? I don't know.
Yeah.
It kind of makes you wonder if he knows that it's going to be his time pretty soon, and he's going to start preparing her for it.
Yeah. I kind of wonder too if like maybe by the end of the season, we'll get a clue to the new doctor. He'll regenerate or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to wait and find out.
Interesting. So I was curious, why do you think that Bill is embarrassed by the doctor? She calls him her granddad. She wants him to go away. She doesn't like him being there.
I don't really know. I know a lot of people are kind of embarrassed around old people. I don't really know. It's not a problem that I would have. I would be just fine if it was a cool old guy helping me out with stuff. But I don't know. It was a little bit strange, but maybe if she does see him as a father figure, it could be she could feel embarrassed, because they've been hanging around a while, and maybe she looks up to him like a father figure, and she wants to be cool with her new friends. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
That was the only thing that I could think of. It didn't seem completely out of character. It just wouldn't be how I would handle the situation.
Yeah. Hey, Doctor Who's in your house, Yeah. getting removal service from Doctor Who. I wouldn't be embarrassed, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was kind of, she doesn't seem like the kind of person who would be normally embarrassed by things like that, but yeah, I guess she just wanted to be a cool girl or something, and didn't want to have her older friend hanging around.
I guess if you do think about it, it is kind of a slightly strange situation. Like this young, early 20s age girl hanging around with somebody who looks like they're in their late 60s. It does seem a little weird. So maybe that's why she was embarrassed.
Maybe. So, okay. Do you think that the show built tension well?
Yes. It was really good at building tension.
So what are some ways you think it built tension well?
Well, sound design for one.
Yeah.
And then the fact that you didn't really know what was going on. Plus the fact that the house was full of these little alien bugs. Those things, if that was real, that would creep anybody out. They weren't like hideous bugs. I really liked their design, but if there's like a swarm coming at you, and all those things worked really well together to build the tension.
Yeah. Well, and I felt like they didn't keep on any scene too long, so you were able to you were still left sort of asking questions, and it never. I don't know. There's just this fine line with horror. Not that I'm like super well versed in the genre, but I feel like there's just this very fine line that you have to walk where your characters can quickly become really stupid, and it managed to cut away to a different character. I felt like just before that kind of happened,
Yeah.
And
yeah, I don't really watch much horror, but I have noticed, and it's like one of the staples of the genre, that's almost cliche, that pretty much everybody in a horror movie is an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they go back into the house, you're like, leave. What's wrong with you?
That by making them not able to leave in the first place. So they were caught off guard too soon. There was no way for them to act stupid.
Yeah, But I just felt like it moved from being you were with Bill for a time, Bill and I guess Shireen you were with, and then it would move over to the doctor, and I think it's Henry. I think.
I think that was his name.
Yeah, and then it would. I don't know. I just felt like it moved enough that you
Mhm.
didn't have that sort of feeling of like, oh my gosh, like wake up, you know.
Yeah.
um. So, what did you think of David Suchet as the landlord? I really thought he was great because
Mhm.
I love him as an actor. I don't know if you're familiar with him in the Perot.
I've
The
heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's really good. Agatha Christie, Perot movies and show and everything. He's great as Perot, and so it was really fun to see him in such a different role for me. And I
Mhm.
thought that he was great, creepy, suitably creepy, but like not. I don't know. I didn't feel like he was cheesy or I don't know. He was realistic enough. I felt like, and I don't know. It just really worked. I thought very much.
Yeah, he was great. Like I said, I'm not really familiar with him, but I could tell from the minute I first saw him on screen that he was like one of the high up actors over there.
Yeah,
Because when Doctor Who gets on one of the staple British actors, it always raises the episode up just that much more.
yeah,
He
yeah,
really,
definitely.
he really brought a lot to the episode.
And there were just so many. It was very well written. I forget. I didn't write down who wrote this episode. But they did a great job. But there were just so many great lines, like when he says, "We must all pay our dues." Like that was such a creepy, creepy line.
Hmm.
You're like, oh man. And then we'll talk about it. He does a good job, I think, with the emotion a little bit later
Hmm.
when we get our reveal and everything. But he was great in that in his performance. I think really creepy, but not too cheesy creepy.
Yeah.
um. So they first notice that the house entraps them, and then you see one roommate go down after another. Did you think this was scary?
Yes. The just having them all separated and then picked off one by one, it's one of those classic scary movie tropes, and I thought it worked really well in this episode.
Yeah, I think
Especially
so
when you
too.
couldn't see what was going on at first. You just heard a whole lot of commotion and screaming. That was really well done.
Yeah. Well, and it's surprising too because once they see that Pavel is in the wood, you know, like it could have lost a lot of steam after that.
Hmm.
But I felt like it only sort of gained momentum after that. You know that what is happening? How is it happening? What does the music have to do with it? All those things. You know, you're really drawn in.
Yeah, especially when he was stuck in the wood and the landlord came in with his creepy dialogue.
That's when we must all pay our dues. So, oh god, so creepy. Yeah, I agree. Although I do think I probably if it was me, I probably would have been like, you know, I'd been freaking out a little bit more than they were, but still, oh well,
Yeah,
it,
probably.
it worked. Uh, okay, so how did you think? Did it make sense to you the whole tuning fork and the different pitches of the music and everything?
Yeah, put, as much as any science fiction trope that they've invented can make sense. I can see that they would be tuned into a frequency that would make them more active. So
Mm-hmm.
it's one of those things where they explain it and you just accept it because that's the story. There was a few things like that in this episode where they explained it and you just have to accept it.
Yeah.
I could see online that there were a few people, like a vocal minority, who did not accept different things. For the most part, I think the episode was well received, but
Yeah.
there was,
I mean, it was a little confusing, I think, at times. Like, what's going on with the music? How does the music work? How is the music affecting it? But I felt like I finally kind of got it.
mhm,
That it just, those bugs like that kind of high pitched music
yeah,
for whatever reason. So, uh, it worked. And whenever you have music, it just is helpful in sort of creating tone and atmosphere and everything like that too. So
especially when it's a skipping record, and I noticed that long before they did that the music was repeating.
Yeah.
I don't know why it took them so long to realize that the record was skipping.
Well, and they were awfully lenient, I guess, on their friend or roommate like being non-existent for so long. I mean, even the doctor has to say to Bill, like, the person who you haven't seen or heard from for like a day and a half.
I think I would forgive them that, because technically they're not friends yet. They only met him the day before, really, or whenever it was that they all got together. So if I was in that situation with a big group of people and somebody went away for a while and another person said, "Oh, that's just what they do. They like to be alone," I would accept that. Because I do know some people who just, they like to be alone.
Yeah.
So that
That's
I
true.
didn't have a problem with.
That's true. So these bugs, what do you think of the bugs?
They were creepy,
Oh,
but
so
also
creepy.
cool. I loved the little lights at the end of their antenna. I don't know. I don't know. It made them seem a little extra special, because if they didn't have those lights, they would just look like
Cockroaches. I hate cockroaches so much. So much. This reminded me a little bit of one of my favorite episodes of the X-Files. Is this cockroach? I don't know what it's called, but this episode, and at the very end of the episode, they had this 3D cockroach crawl across the screen over the credits or whatever. And I remember when I was in high school just freaking out, like, oh my gosh, there's a cockroach, in the house. And I don't know how it holds up now. I haven't seen it in a long time, but I hate cockroaches so much. It's the only thing that I hate about going to Hawaii. I love Hawaii, but they're so gross. And you'll be asleep and you'll hear this.
I didn't realize that Hawaii had a cockroach.
Oh my gosh, they're everywhere. They're so like, when I'm there, I like put everything into the fridge, like everything, even like stuff that you would normally put in the fridge, because it's like sealed from the cockroaches. Yeah.
I'll have to remember this if I ever make it over there.
They're awful, awful, awful. And I mean, and we would spray, and we would have like before any room, before I go into any room, I just spray everywhere. I just hate cockroaches so much, and any tropical place is gonna have them. It's not like unique to Hawaii, but
it's something I've never thought about before. You always think of Hawaii as this beautiful tropical paradise,
and it is. But that's the price to be paid, is the cockroaches, and
apparently.
So it really creeped me out, these bugs, and I've always been that way. Even the old Brendan Fraser Mummy.
Yeah.
I think it's the last one where there's like these beetles that are like it's kind of, and even back in high school, I remember watching that and being like, oh, gross. Beetles.
There was some gross beetle horror in those movies, wasn't there? I'd forgotten. I haven't seen those movies in years.
Yeah. So evidently that's I don't think I could ever watch like Jeepers Creepers or like movies like that, because I get grossed out so much by bugs. So I thought they were super creepy. It really worked for me.
Yeah, I don't really have a bug phobia, so it probably wasn't as creepy for me. I just thought it was a cool idea to have the little. I love the lights on their antennas.
That was cool.
Made them so much better for me.
Like, I liked it that it was creepy. That was fun. I think that a good old fashioned scary movie, or scary episode in this case, I think it's super fun. I love it. But the problem is that just most of them get too bloody, too gory,
that's always my problem with that kind of stuff. I like scary things, but then they always make it too gross, and then I don't like it anymore.
Right.
But the Doctor Who doesn't usually have that problem. They tend to keep the gross things to a minimum.
Yeah, I can tell. So yeah, or it just becomes kind of mean spirited or annoying or whatever. And
Mhm.
so because I loved last year, it's different kind of scare, but I loved 10 Cloverfield Lane last
Yes, I
year.
love that movie.
It was
That
so
was so
good,
good. Yeah, there
so
was a little
creepy.
stuff in there too, but it was so minimal, and it was
Yeah,
tension built just through the atmosphere and the subtle character things. It was so
exactly.
good.
Like they earned those few kind of gross out moments, I
Yeah.
felt.
Yeah.
So yeah. All right. So um so we meet right around this time we meet Eliza. She was the bug's first victim. And what did you think of her?
I thought it was a really great design, and I didn't realize until I started watching some behind the scenes things on YouTube. That was all prosthetics. She was not at all CGI.
Really?
And no, she was all prosthetics, head to toe prosthetics to make her look made out of wood. And I was shocked. I thought for sure that was a CGI creature, but no, they had the
Yeah, that
behind
is
the scenes stuff.
shocking.
They did an excellent job on her. That that was very impressive to me that they were able to pull that off and make it look good. 'Cause
Yeah,
that
that
kind of
seems
thing is
almost hard
hard.
to believe.
Yeah, no, well, I didn't believe it until I saw the behind the scenes footage. I was like, wait a second, she's still there. They're not acting to thin air.
Yeah. Wow. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah, and we hear that she is his daughter,
Hmm.
the landlord's daughter. And why do you think I guess because of their age difference at this point, that's why he pretends that she's his
Yeah.
daughter.
Well, when he first said that she was his daughter, and then they were later saying that they'd been there for 70 years, I was like, well, I know she's made of wood, so that's why she's not aging, but why hasn't he aged and died? Because he's already like probably at least 70, so why hasn't he aged away?
Well,
And
and why didn't the bugs take him?
that was another thing that I just decided to accept. The question too hard. And
Because he had the tuning fork? Is that why? Or
it could have been also maybe the mother somehow stopped them. I don't know, because she seemed to exhibit control over them, especially at the end. So maybe she somehow subconsciously prevented him from being taken or
maybe.
consumed or whatever happened to them.
And so he brought in the bugs, not realizing what they were. He's just a little kid,
Hmm.
and he's going to show them to his mom. And I thought it was super like effective when he says, "If you could save the one who brought you into the world, wouldn't you?"
Hmm. That had some bearing on the doctor's life too, because we we don't really know where his family is, what happened to them. There was one episode where we got a glimpse of somebody who might have been his mother, but it was never confirmed. But there was nothing he could do to save her, so that kind of had some emotional relevance to his life too.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. Yeah, I thought that David Suchet he pulled it off really well in that
Hmm.
emotion. Like you really bought. I mean, if you think about it, like if you had been kind of doing something since you were a little boy and you rationalized it all that time,
Hmm.
then you it kind of makes more sense.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, it made sense. His motivations made sense to me, especially if they'd been locked in that house for 70 years and he hadn't really had that much outside interaction with people.
yeah.
He made perfect sense to me.
And I did love it when the doctor says to Eliza, says, "You're the parent. You're in charge."
Yeah.
That was really good.
Mhm.
And I thought that scene just between because you feel like at any moment, like Bill is standing on top of the drawers, like the dresser or whatever, and he's trying to figure this out, So that scene was really tense as they bounced off of each other, and I thought it was very well written.
Mhm.
And you're just like, oh my gosh, is he going to be able to pull this off? You're the parent, you're in charge, and what kind of life is this basically to live? It was good. He says, "What's the point in surviving if you never see anyone, if you hide away from the world?"
Yeah, there was a lot of good lines in that
Yeah.
whole section.
It just really worked. You were very invested, at least I was,
Yeah.
in everything that was happening.
Yeah, I could tell that I was invested because I was accepting things that I didn't completely understand just because I was enjoying the episode so much.
Yeah.
If I hadn't been enjoying the episode, I would be a whole lot more critical about a few things.
Sure. So yeah, and then you get the emotional ending where they open the windows, the shutters, whatever, and they see the fireworks.
Hmm.
And Doctor Who says, "Fireworks, that's what life should be." So I thought that was a really good moment.
Yeah, fireworks always make things more emotional. That reminded me of the end of the Guardians of the Galaxy 2. I know you didn't really care for it, but I almost got a little misty-eyed at the end, especially when the fireworks show happened at his funeral. That was so
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, that was a nice moment. I can understand that. Yeah, and so the last scene that we get in the episode is the Doctor bringing food to whatever's in the vault, and he plays music for, and he says to them, "We're both prisoners." What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, I loved that scene so much. That was so funny. The whole thing. That is a good line and does have emotional relevance because technically they are prisoners because whoever's in the vault is a prisoner literally, and he is a prisoner figuratively because he's supposed to stay there and watch over them.
Right.
But I loved that scene so much, especially when the person inside is seemingly pouting about something, and he says he's going to tell them a story, and the not responding until he says that a whole bunch of people get eaten in the story, and then the piano playing starts up, and the person is obviously overjoyed that they're going to hear a story about carnage or whatever.
Yeah, that's true. That was funny.
I'm thinking it could be a complete red herring, but I'm almost positive I know who's in the vault now.
Ah, are you gonna tell us, or?
If you don't mind,
Yeah, please.
he has a nemesis who was his friend in childhood called the Master, and the Master is also a Time Lord, so the Master has regenerated many times over the years. The Master's most recent incarnation is female, and her name is Missy, and she is absolutely psychotic.
Uh-oh.
And the way the piano playing just started joyously as he mentioned that his story would contain people getting eaten, I was like, that is something that is so Missy. I mean, it could be any incarnation of the Master, but it just seemed like a very Missy thing to do. I don't know. She's so evil and so vile, but there's something about her that's just hilarious. She's
Yeah.
just so over the top. So if it's not her, it's got to be some version of the Master because they're time travelers. They can overlap their timelines. The
Interesting.
one he's been seeing most recently. So I don't know if it's not her. I'll be surprised. But it could be a red herring. But I don't know. I think it's going to be the Master.
Sounds good to me. I have no idea, so that sounds like a good theory. So yeah, is there anything that you didn't like about the episode that you weren't crazy about?
Not really. I mean, there was a few plot points that I thought could use a little better explanation, but the episode as a whole I liked so much that
Yeah,
it didn't bother me at all.
I
I'm more
agree.
critical of episodes that I don't like as much, and when I liked it this much, I don't feel like picking it apart too heavily.
Sure. Yeah, I agree. I really didn't have a whole lot of problems with it. I was very, very entertained.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'd give it honestly like a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed it.
I think I would too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was that good.
So okay, cool. Well, we'll look forward to it's just tomorrow we get a new episode because we're a little
Yeah.
busy this week. So that'll be fun.
Mhm.
And so where can people find you?
Twitter, John J. North, at John J. North, JONJ North.
Great. I'll put the links down to that in the description section, and put in the comments what you thought of the episode, if you liked it, where were you at on it, and we'll talk again next week.
I want, before we go,
please.
I want to show you my shirt.
Yeah.
I wear a different Doctor Who shirt every episode. So this is another Disney mashup.
Nice.
The Doctor facing off against Maleficent. And last week I didn't show you my shirt. I also wore a different Disney one. This is, see, no, that's sideways. Merida.
Oh, I love it. Merida.
Following the little sprites into the forest and finding the TARDIS.
That would have made that movie so much better.
There's an artist who does these shirts. I really like her work.
Cool.
She does a lot of great Doctor Who designs.
Great. That's awesome. I love those. That's a lot of fun.
I have more, so you'll see more later too.
Oh, good. Well, I look forward to that. Yeah, I love mashups. I have a Nightmare Before Christmas Back to the Future mashup shirt.
Yeah, I've got a few different mashups that aren't Doctor Who related too. One of my favorites is Stitch playing with BB-8.
Oh, fun. I have one that has BB-8 and Baymax that I like.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that one. That's fun too. Two robots.
So it's fun. But all right. Well, we will talk next week about the latest episode. So that should be really fun.
Okay. I'll see you then.
Bye.